trust you had a great discussion. And so let's go on to the third area, and that is to have a plan. A plan is so important. In ministry, we do not do things haphazardly. God is a God of order. Even in creation, when you look at the specifics, there is an order. Even when Jesus came to the earth, he had a plan. He had a strategy. He didn't just come thinking, what am I going to do next? But he knew exactly. He knew he was going to be there for 3.5 years. So therefore he knew even to train the disciples, that was the time span that he needed. He knew and he planned out his journeys. So even in microchurch, we have to have a plan. When are we going to meet? What day of the week are we going to meet? Where are we going to meet? Is it at Starbucks? Is it at McDonald's? Are we meeting in a home? Or are we meeting over Zoom? Because if your microchurch are people from different places, are you going to meet on Zoom? And how often? Are you going to meet weekly? And I would encourage you to meet weekly, because we are building one another up. We are discipling people, and we are building a community. So anything beyond the 1 week, you really can't do what microchurch wants to establish. You know, some people may say, hey, we're going to just meet once a month. Then it's just a casual gathering. It's not microchurch. It's not discipling one another. It's not about building a community. And even through the week, even as you meet corporately together, maybe once a week, individually, why not have coffee together? Why not do something together through the week so that the relationship factor begins to grow and begins to influence each other? Again, with whom are you going to meet? We said that there are many that cannot come to the traditional church. The doors may be locked for them if they try to enter those churches. But in a micro church, you need to ask yourself, who is going to be coming in? Who are some of the people who are going to come? Maybe it's some of your friends who have never seen a church, and this will be the beginning of their journey. So begin to plan out, who is your community that you're going to reach out to. An important aspect to remember is that never have microchurch simply for the sake of having a microchurch. You have microchurch because you want to make disciples. So there are two types of ministry. There's a ministry that focuses on people, but there's also a ministry that focuses on the ministry. And which one would you want to build? I'm sure you said it's the first one. A ministry that focuses and builds people. See, that is what Jesus built. He built people. Jesus did not build a ministry. He did not build a ministry to get a big name for himself, but only built people. He built great disciples. Just think about it. The first 12 that he took, many of those 12 would not be even leaders in the modern day church, because they were from different walks of life. They were not trained. They had so much of weaknesses and failures. Yet Jesus took that group of men and he converted them, transformed them to change the world, because he focused on people. If Jesus did not focus on people, guys like Peter would not have been in the ministry, would not have been where he ended. See, focusing on ministry is about getting a name, getting popularity, and telling the whole world what a great ministry you have. But you do not care about people then. You trample people, you crush people, you walk over them, because only the ministry is important. And I was thinking about this. Your ministry is not going to heaven, but it's the disciples that you build and that you care for, they are the ones who are going to heaven. So always remember that. Number 4 is establish strategy and values. Strategy and values. See, out of the basics that we discussed earlier, for example, the word, the worship, the fellowship, and the mission, those 4 concepts, out of that and within the wall of that, begin to establish a strategy and your values. What would your values be? I need you to begin to think about this. See, values are what you live by. They are what is important to you. So for example, a value for you may be relationship. A value for you may be we will love people for who they are. So think about it, because it's those values that is going to create the flavor that your microchurch is going to be. Even on a personal and an individual level, what are the values that you live by? Because our values determine the choices that we make. And those choices then decide what our behavior is going to be. Notice that values, choices, and behavior. So even in the church context, your values are important. And you can share those values with your friends. And they will say, wow, I never knew that. I had a friend, and his strategy was, we promise to love as is. That was their strategy. He said, we will love people as they are. As they come, we are going to just love them. So that was the strategy. So they chose to love people irrespective of behaviors. That they would just love people from whatever backgrounds, and they would welcome them. That was their strategy. Some of his values was that they said, we will give you God, not religion. Think about that. God, not religion. People are tired of religion. Even the world is tired of religion. They have walked away from religion, but they will not walk away from Jesus. So, one of their values was that we will give you Jesus. Another value was we will discuss scripture, but not have sermons. Because that's how microchurch works. You discuss scripture, but not have somebody preaching at you. Then they said, we will focus on people and not behaviors. Interesting. And they said, we will even welcome everyone, even those who hate God. Imagine, having values like that. They also said, food is going to be one of our values. And when you begin to establish and build a set of values according to what the Lord is giving you, you're going to draw people. And when you begin to share those values with them, something is going to tug in their hearts. Another value that my friend has was, he said, we are going to always multiply. So even what we learn, we will share it with someone else. So I want us to think about those values. Would you take some time now? And would you begin to discuss amongst your groups? If you're watching this as a group, would you break yourselves into maybe 2 groups? And imagine you are going to establish a microchurch. And so in that establishment, would you then discuss, here are some of the values that we need to have, and talk about why you want that value. What's the thinking behind it? What is the opportunity that you would use that value even to touch and reach someone else? So would you do that as a point of discussion? And remember 3 key words. relationship, discipleship, and multiplication. Those, I would say, are our core values. Relationship, discipleship, and multiplication. And everything falls within the framework of that. So have a great discussion, and I hope to join you when you get back.